So welcome to São Paulo, welcome to Disal. Let me tell you a little bit about who I am. My name is Rubinho. I already know some things about you, well, aside from the fact that most of you come from the sunny Bauru. And I know that there are some people here, like Luciana and Hilda, who are French and, well, they're French. They claim to be English students, but their English is just as good as ours, you know what I mean? And on top of that, there's French. So we were trying to, they were having a chat in French. I was just following and making smart faces, you know. Are you all English teachers? Do you all currently work as English teachers somehow? Just so I know a little bit how to gauge the information, how many of you teach private students? Okay. How many of you teach in schools? By schools, I mean primary school, secondary school, the regular school system. And how many of you teach in language institutes? Like Cultura Inglesa, like language schools, yeah? Okay, so majority here is schools, regular schools and private students. With private students, I know we're talking about choosing the best material. You have that freedom, right? Regular schools, probably not so much, but we'll get to that. I have been teaching English for around 16 years, which means that, judging by my face, I started when I was 2. Yeah. And I've been an academic coordinator at Cultura for the last 6 years. So among my responsibilities in my current job, I'm part of the team that designs the courses that Cultura Inglesa will implement. So the subject of choosing materials to help teachers prepare lessons is something that's very dear to my heart, something that's part of my daily routine that I never get tired of. But it's hard work, isn't it? Lots of options, lots of different students. Sometimes what's good for one is not necessarily good for the other. So it's important for us to have that clear in mind and to try to do our best always to find the best materials, course books, as well as supplementary materials. So that's our plan for the day. First of all, try to understand a little bit what our needs are, what we as teachers need in order to make informed decisions in terms of selecting and adapting materials. Then analyzing course books. I even brought some course books here for us to take a look and practice evaluating them in a way. And then we're going to talk a little bit about adapting materials. Adapting materials, according to the slide, but adapting materials, right? So try to think of general rules of thumb that we can use to select any materials that we want to use to complement our lessons in a more thought-about way. Does it sound like a good plan? Yes. Yeah? Please feel free to interrupt me at any time. Nothing I will say is more relevant than what you guys will say. So don't have to wait until, because sometimes, we never know how it goes. If we have to wait until the end of the talk to ask questions or not, feel free to stop me at any time, especially if I'm saying something nonsense, okay? Which might happen. So first of all, let's try to understand why we're here. And hopefully it will work.
Getting things done in life requires the right tools.
So, why are we here? What does that video tell us about our life as a teacher?
Suitable things.
Mm. Yeah, getting the wrong tool for the wrong job or the right job. It's probably not going to work, right? Even though sometimes I wish I had hairdryer that was as powerful as the leaf blower that she was using. It just looks fun. It would be a great way to start the day. So it's very important for us to know what are the right tools for the job that we're going to do, right? Whether teaching English, whether teaching French, whether teaching in regular schools or with our private students. So, and now, one of the first things we have to take into consideration is the school context. Yeah? So what is it that regarding the school? Because, of course, when you work for an institution, there are some limitations and some rules you have to follow. It's part of the job, right? It's not as free as when you're teaching private students that you can make all the decisions. There's a curriculum you have to follow. There are classroom contingencies, things like the view of learning. So how does the institution think that people learn best? The institution being the school or the state. The resources that we have available can vary tremendously from one lesson to the other, even though most of us are lucky enough to get the best of all, which is the Blackboard. The time that we have available, some of us teach longer lessons of 1 hour and a half, 1 hour and 40. Some of us have limited 50 minutes to get everything done. The number of students that we have, and the environment in itself, the setting in the classroom, if we're talking about classrooms, sometimes it's not really possible for us to get students to sit in circles. Sometimes it's impossible for students to move around a lot. All of those wonderful communicative dynamics that we like to use. And sometimes our students is just facing a camera 300 kilometers from us in an online course. And all of this will affect how we get to choose materials and course books to help them, right? Do you guys teach online? Yes? What do you mean, kind of? How can you teach online, kind of?
I'm responsible for one of the online programs.
Okay. So you teach teachers online. So you teach future teachers online, or?
Yes.
That's great.
Besides, it's part of our methodology. We teach at university module, and we have, of course, the classes.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have materials online so students can know beforehand the classes they're going to have, the objectives. The teaching.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
That's great. Very modern.
So they come to class knowing what's going to happen. So
Mm-hmm.
this is part online. Yes.
That's awesome. And it poses a whole other set of challenges, right? But more important than that, we also have to know the learner needs. In this, whether you work in a school or whether you teach privately, learners have needs, and we have to take them into consideration, right? Some of the things it's advisable for us to take into account when we're selecting materials for students are these things. Age, interest, level of proficiency. So are they elementary learners? Are they intermediate learners? Their academic and educational level, what kind of learning experience they have, their motivation, what drives them to learn English, and the reasons, usually work, or they want to progress in their career, or something like that. So can I give you a couple of minutes, maybe two, a couple literally, to get to the person next to you and choose either one student that you have, that you teach privately, or a group of students, if you don't have private students, if you teach groups. Get one group or one student, think about them, tell the person next to you what their ages are, what their interest is, and I'll tell you why. Because we're going to be looking at principles for choosing course book, and this student you choose today is the student that you will bear in mind for the whole of our talk. Okay? So we're going to look at course books, and you're going to try to see whether that course book or those materials are suitable for that student. And then, of course, later on you can apply it for all the others and to the course books and materials you will find upstairs as well. So can you do that, please? What is it that you have to do? Yes. Describe your student. Thank you, guys. Sorry to interrupt. Can I make a wild guess here? Can I try to make a wild guess and try to read your minds for a second? I'm assuming the person or group that you're teaching either doesn't really want to study or wants to be fluent tomorrow. Yeah? Great, my mind reading abilities still work. So are you thinking more about teenage students or more, yeah, some of you teenage? Adults, anybody? Did anybody think of adult students? Yeah? Great. But remember who these students are and remember who your partner's students are because you'll be helping each other in the process, right? But before we go a little bit deeper into looking at the course books themselves, there's something else we have to bear in mind, which is who we are definitely affects the course book we're going to teach. Right? Because after all, if we get to choose the course book, we just choose the course book we want. Or at least we choose the course book that we believe, even if we don't like it, that we believe is going to help our students the most. Yeah. But if we like it, it's better. So I've got some situations here, and I just want you to tell the same partner you were working with whether those statements are true or false for you in the context, in your own context. So for example, I can choose the course book I'll use with my students. Yes or no? Yeah? Go ahead. Thank you, guys. You know what? There's one of them I firmly believe in, which is the last one. I often feel that course books do not cater for the needs of my actual students. Not all the needs, but it caters for lots of needs. Yeah? But it's impossible for us to find one piece of material, be it a course book, be it an online program, that will fit the needs of all the different students, because thank God people are different. Some come from Bauru, some come from Resende, some teach French, and that just makes life better, right? Is there anything here that you feel strongly about? No?
I tend to look some other materials to complement the course books.
Mm-hmm. And this is related, and it's related to the fact that the course book does not help with all the needs, right? Especially if you're teaching adult professional students, sometimes they have very specific needs at their jobs, types of presentations they have to make, types of reports they have to write.
You have to help them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. What about teaching a course without a course book? Have you ever tried that? Have you ever done that?
Yes.
Wow. Why?
I do because in my case, because I teach French, I don't have the choice that you have.
Mm-hmm. There are fewer options.
Yes, few options. And so it's because I tried it and I do this every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was a resounding yes. I didn't expect the yes to be so strong.
I tried for two students who asked me, and I gave them all sorts of material, but I didn't like the results. Because
why not?
They were good students with the course books. They did all the homework necessary and much, much more. Teachers like this, they had never time to do anything. So the result was not good.
I think I find two biggest difficulties with not having a reference material to follow. Because, I mean, preparing one lesson is easy. Preparing one lesson every day means that half the hours of your week will be spent ironing clothes and preparing lessons and finding materials. Yeah, it's really time demanding, right? And it also, it's kind of hard for us to look at the future. It's easy to prepare a lesson here, but course books can be very useful in helping us in the progression of lessons So it's not just a series of lessons that are separate and individual that do not lead to progress on the student's part. Course books, they kind of offer us a backbone that is a little bit reliable in terms of the level of challenge is going to increase, the complexity of the texts is going to increase, the language we're going to deal with is going to become more and more complex as we progress through the course book. Yeah, so I totally believe in courses without course books, but we have to bear all of those things in mind when we do. All right, so let's have that as our starting point before we talk about adapting and supplementing. Let's look at choosing a course book. What we can do to choose.